Alrighty, next question. Members of a task force reviewing Florida's Stand Your Ground law expressed wide support recently for the statute's core provision that deadly force can be used if necessary to prevent death or serious injury. Will you support that? Stand your ground.
Well, I support Stand Your Ground.
Yes.
Definitely, 100%. Behind that, I think that it's a good thing, good law that was passed. I know it's got some issues, but almost every time it's been brought up, it's not even a proper defense for what the person was doing. Stand Your Ground, I think, does a very good job of giving people the right to actually use force to defend themselves and not have to worry about repercussions of going to jail just for defending yourself. I think the laws we had beforehand did not adequately do that. The idea that you're in a threatening situation and you got to run away and go get help before being killed, I don't think is a very good plan for anybody. I think you have the right to defend yourself. You have the right to your life. It's in the Constitution. And I think Stand Your Ground does a good job of that. I don't think there should be a reason why you should run away. I mean, obviously everyone should use their head when doing something and know what they're doing. But I don't think that getting rid of a Stand Your Ground law is going to prevent anyone else from getting killed. I think people are still going to, if they're meant to do harm, they're going to do harm. And Stand Your Ground is a good defense for us people to actually have something to do about it.
Thank you. If you could pass the microphone down that way.
Well, I will absolutely defend this law and agree with it. I'm an NRA A-rated candidate. I will mention that my opponent, who Marion said was a C-plus rated candidate, maybe that was last year, most of his legislative career he was a D-rated candidate. This year he filled out the questionnaire and earned an A and a little Q next to it. So in the NRA questionnaire, the voter guide, he's got an AQ, which means that he has been sort of friendly to gun legislation. So it's very important that we get the word out to people who are single-issue voters, the NRA guys. Where's my friend that does the gun show? Did he leave?
Yeah, he left.
Oh, okay. Joe's there all the time too. I'm at all the gun shows. It's very important that we talk to our NRA members, friends that are single-issue voters, and let them know that just because Joe says he's going to do something doesn't mean he's going to do it. He tells everyone whatever they want to hear. This is how he's earned an endorsement from SEIU and the Florida Chamber. This is how he's earned an A rating with the NRA. So make no mistake about it, this year your gun rights are going to be up for grabs in the legislature, and it's going to take candidates that can argue this on the floor, that can educate other legislators, and that will fight hard for our Second Amendment rights, and that's what I plan to do.
Thank you.
Again, yes, I believe that citizens, people who live here in Florida have the right to protect their homes, their families, their children, and that's what we need to do and we need to be able to do. So yes, I believe Stand Your Ground is a good law. There are some people who want to have a conversation about certain parts of it, or maybe it's not perfect in all that it is. I'm certainly willing to listen and have a conversation, but as it stands, yes.
Okay, keep the microphone. Tanya, I'll give you the next question. HB 7117 became law earlier this year, giving state tax credits to green energy companies. Agriculture Commissioner Adam Putnam pushed the bill, saying it was a step towards smart long-term energy policy, and those are in quotations. But the Heartland Institute and Americans for Prosperity called it a crony energy bill, which has the government picking winners and losers. The entire Palm Beach delegation, except for Joe Negron, voted for this bill. Would you have supported it, and will you if it comes up again?
No, I would not if it comes up again. I believe we need to be considering all sources of energy. We do need to look at becoming energy independent. We need to be constantly exploring all different types of energy here in Florida. I do believe that we should drill here in Florida. I said two years ago, Joe Abruzzo actually mocked me at a debate when I said we need to drill offshore before somebody else does, and he joked about it, made a laugh about it, and said, oh yeah, sure, but we see what has happened. We do have another country, and I believe that we are best to drill off our own shores, that we can do it safely, that we can do it effectively, but we also need to continue to explore other forms of alternative energy so that we can become energy independent. We need to make sure that they're affordable, we need to make sure that they're safe, and need to continue in that direction.
Thank you.
this might get a little repetitive, but I agree entirely with Tammy. I would not have supported any legislation like that whatsoever. I don't think we need to be funding any cylinders out of our state budget or anything like that. I think the best solution for all of our energy crises are the free market. That's the best way to do it. I mean, right now, oil seems to be the way to go, so we're exploiting that as much as possible. And there's a lot of green energy projects that are starting up, and I 100% support them. If anyone can find out any better way or safer thing for the environment that's going to fuel our cars and get all the energy we need, that's great. And when that person invents it, they're going to become very, very famous and very, very wealthy. And I support them 100%. I just don't think we need to be taking taxpayers' money and funneling it to them in order for them to get that done. There's no real reason for that. I think the free market will decide when someone finds something that's cheap and it's affordable and you can find it and you can produce it in a cost-effective way and get it to market so people can use it. That's the product that will then take over and be used by the masses. That's the way energy production has always worked in this country. We've always found something new and taken it over, and it's always been easier than what was before it. You know, before we had oil, I always give a little history lesson at every one of my little Canada forums I go to, and because I'm a history major, that's what I got my degree in. And before we had oil pumped out of the ground, we used whale oil. That was the main use of it was to power all your lamps, everything. We didn't have electricity. Whale oil is what everybody used. We sent whaling ships all the way around the world. We were the #1 whaling capital was the United States of America. It got so expensive to go get whale oil from across the Pacific Ocean that some guys out in Texas decided we were going to drill some holes and oil just started popping out of it. And it became cheaper and more efficient to get the oil out of the deserts and out of Texas and then out of the Gulf of Mexico than it was to get it whaling. And then everything switched over, and we didn't need the government to sit there and pay them to do it or tell them how to do it or put regulations on it. They went and they did it on their own. It became more cost effective, and then we got out of that period and then into the period we are now. I think the same thing will happen again. We just let the free market work its course.
Thank you.
I'll tell you, I couldn't say it better than that with the free market. I also think that, you know, here in Florida, as far as picking winners and losers, I think that unfortunately we see this certain section of private interest, special interest groups that have a bigger seat at the table than they should have. So when I talk to people that are working for solar blanket companies, and they say to me, Melanie, why do you think we can't get a seat at the table to talk about why we're not putting solar blankets over landfills? Doesn't that sound like a good idea? And I'm like, yeah, that sounds like a really good idea. We're the land of the sunshine. Why aren't we collecting solar energy on our landfills when we're pulling natural gas out of them as well, methane gas? So we need to explore all of the opportunities. We have companies from all over the world that are here that have solutions like this. They're just not getting a seat at the table to negotiate with us because there are bigger interests that have a bigger share of that seat at the table. So I'm interested in exploring all of the options out there. What is economical? And if it's going to be viable, it's going to survive that free market system. If it can't survive without a help, then it's probably not going to be a long-term solution. We have to be able to have standalone solutions that are going to be sustainable. I almost hate to use that word in this room. Sustainable for the future so that they can stand on their own. We want our kids to walk and run on their own. It's the same thing with our business. Our business needs to have a sound model so that it can go on and duplicate over and over and over again.
Thank you. Now, how do you keep the microphone?